Hello! So I know I said in my previous video that I don't believe in resolutions, and I meant it. I don't believe in resolutions, but I do believe in goals. And one of my main goals this year is to get healthier. Or should I say, not actively work against my own health. So that's why I have resolved to quit smoking. And as someone who has been smoking for longer than I care to admit, it's kind of a scary prospect. I started smoking when I was 13, not to impress anyone at school or any of my mates, but in the hopes that my big sister would think I was cool. We were throwing a house party and she and her friends kept disappearing, and then I followed them and saw them, and I said to her, I won't tell mum if you let me have one. And that was my first cigarette. And I've regretted that day for a long time. Now, I have in the past tried to quit smoking. When my wife and I first got together, I managed to quit smoking, but she was quite a heavy smoker at the time. She's not anymore, thankfully. But she was quite a heavy smoker, and you know, kissing her was like kissing an ashtray. And I had to ask myself, do I want to break up with her over this, or do I want to start smoking again? And I started smoking again because I was head over heels in love. You might be starting to notice a theme here. The whole smoking thing is about getting closer to someone in my life. So I've tried different techniques. I've tried the willpower technique. I've tried replacement products like nicotine patches and e-cigarettes and things like that. Nicotine patches, holy crap, they mess with my body. Like, I tried one a couple of Christmases ago, and within like half an hour, I felt like I had nicotine poisoning. I got shivers, I was nauseous, I needed to sleep, I had a splitting headache. So yeah, not using nicotine patches this time. Then I tried those kind of nicotine sticks, and they just made me want cigarettes. Every time I had a nicotine craving, I'd smoke, I'd puff on one, and I'd be like, no, I just want a cigarette now. And I've also tried the gum. The gum had the same effect on me as the nicotine patches, just feeling nauseous and gross, with the added benefit of also wanting a cigarette immediately after throwing up. So we're not doing that this time. Instead, we're going to use the advice of Alan Carr's Easyway to Quit Smoking. Not that Alan Carr, different Alan Carr. I know this book works because when I was 21, I'm not saying how long ago that was, I used it. And it worked so well that I actually had to convince myself to start smoking again. And I know that sounds stupid, and it was stupid, and I was 21. But the reason I ended up trying to convince myself to start smoking again is because at the time, I was making a little sideline as a gigging singer-songwriter. And 2 weeks after I quit smoking, I noticed like this change in my voice, my singing voice. It didn't have that kind of like bluesiness anymore, I guess. It's that kind of roughness in the voice. I suddenly sounded like I was in the school choir, singing these angsty, boozy songs with the voice of like a choir boy. Again, stupid reasoning, but here we are. So I'm going back to Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Smoking, and I can actually remember a few things off of it. I'm now doing the audio book instead of the hard copy book, because every year it's been updated. Well, every year up until Alan Carr's death, it had been updated. So this is a much more prevalent one, because in the original book he talks about like smoking in bars, smoking in clubs and restaurants, and we can't do that anymore. But to be honest, it's not just for my sake that I'm quitting smoking, it's for my son. In 2016, my grandfather died of lung cancer. My son had only met him a small handful of times, but they were really fond of each other. And my son absolutely adored my grandfather. And he was completely heartbroken when my grandfather died. He would cry in the night saying he missed great-granddad. And he knows that great-granddad died because he smoked. So he is really worried for my health, and he brings it up quite often that he doesn't like me smoking, and it scares him. And I promised him that I would quit smoking. I promised him a while ago, and I keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Yeah, I'm gonna do it this week, and then this week ends up being really stressful, and okay, I'm gonna do it next week, and then next week. And the fact is, like, life is stressful. I can't keep making these excuses. I can't keep saying, oh, I was going to do it, but then this thing happened. Things happen all the time. Since 2016, things have been happening almost non-stop on a weekly basis for one reason or another. Socially, politically, economically, and personally. Things, it seems, are never going to settle down ever again. Possibly, maybe things will change, but here we are. So I'm putting all excuses aside, and going to make a concerted effort to quit smoking. Not only for all those other reasons, but I realized some of you might know I've just launched a film review channel, when one of the things we do on there is a time lapse of me watching the movie, because it's kind of a way to gauge the emotional journey. You can see it on my face, so regardless of if I'm complaining about the movie, you can still see that I enjoyed it. But on the first one I did, I ended up smoking 2 cigarettes during our viewing of The Hobbit. And if you've seen my review, you probably understand why I ended up smoking 2 cigarettes during a movie while on camera. That was going to go on YouTube, and obviously I don't want that to be a part of the time lapse, and nor do I want to be distracted by nicotine cravings while I'm watching a movie, nor do I want to disrupt the viewing of the movie while I pause so I can smoke a cigarette. One of the things in Alan Carr's book is that there is a long list of reasons why you shouldn't smoke or why you should quit smoking. There is literally no reason to smoke whatsoever. It doesn't make you look cool. It doesn't make you more confident. It doesn't alleviate boredom. It doesn't do any of the things. It doesn't even taste good. And any smoker who tells you otherwise is lying to you and themselves. So yeah, I haven't quit yet, because the book actually says not to quit until the final chapter. So that way, while you're reading the book, you're still smoking, and with each cigarette, you're thinking about what you're doing. And I noticed that since I started reading the book again, occasionally while I'm smoking, I will think about how I'm inhaling poison, holding poison in my lungs, and exhaling poison. And there have been times when that mantra is in my head while I'm smoking, and I gag and I can't finish the cigarette. So it's an effective process, it makes you think about what you're doing while you're doing it, instead of forcing you to quit and then think about it in hindsight. You get to live the reality of smoking cigarettes with the veil pulled from your eyes, being able to see it clearly. Though the book does mention that some people take forever to finish reading the book because they're not quite ready to quit smoking it. But personally, it's affecting me in so many different ways. Since the lockdown, the number of cigarettes I smoke through the day has just shot up. That worries me. So yeah, hopefully by this time next week, I can tell you that I no longer am a smoker. But let's see how quickly I can get through that book. That's it for today. If you have quit smoking, please, I am open to any and all advice on how to curb cravings or how to deal with the anxiety and all of that. So please leave a comment below. All advice is welcome. And if you're new to the channel and you're just interested in my weekly blah blahs, then subscribe, hit the like button and all of that stuff, because it helps us grow. Until next time, take care. Speak to you soon. Goodbye.